The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Ahoy! Let's go! We're waking up Chicago. Turn up the radio. It's time to start the show. On Q101 with the morning crew. Ahoy! Let's go! Welcome to the morning show.
All right, let's go. Let's get that proof of life check-in that we really need today. Man, was it ridiculous last night. I thought all my windows were going to break. I thought the house would flood. I was trying to think of an alternate plan, kind of like, let's see, Noah had the ark.
Noah had the ark.
And I'm like, I have Harper there sleeping through the whole thing. A baby sitting there sleeping through hail hitting windows. What a dream.
Yeah, I agree.
What a dream. And me, I'm trying to like carve out a tree that I brought her from the backyard to make an ark for her.
You wanted your own ark.
I wanted an ark. I did. It was pretty bad. And I'm in Wrigleyville or whatever you want to call it, North Center, Lakeview, the North Lincoln Park area, whatever. And a lot of friends checking in. Kenzie checked in, tornado warning in Elgin. They went to the basement with their new baby. Kenzie's still, of course, on maternity leave. Lauren will be here coming up around 7. Lauren O'Neill, who's usually on at 10. But yeah, check in with any damage at your house. We love seeing those pictures. I mean, we're not happy your house got damaged.
No, but I love a cool photo.
Cool photos of what happened in your hood. I went through a huge puddle on Lakeshore Drive. And I thought my Nissan Rogue was going all the way in.
Oh, really?
You know those puddles look like a puddle? And then, and then you hit them. You want to like hydroplane through them, and you realize, whoa, this is like 2 feet of water. Not good, not good. But the Rogue plowed right through it, the 2019 Rogue.
I told you, I saw a Rogue commercial a few months ago. Thought it looked badass. Really convinced me.
They're absolutely badass, is how people describe it. They won't put that in the commercial, which is sad.
No, it's a shame.
Yeah, you know, it's trying to be a little politically correct there, not using the word badass.
I can't even say badass anymore.
Oh,
What's society
God.
come to?
What are
Everybody's
we
so
doing?
soft nowadays. Participation trophies, etc.
Oh, well, let's not get into that. So check in, 312-591-8300, a huge day. In fact, before the end of the hour, let's say after facts today, the fact that makes your brain go, that's at 6:30, we'll give away tickets to Beach Weather.
That's huge. That show's coming up.
Big show. Then we've got 7:10, Ilana Glazer playing Chicago Theater. Awesome comedian. That'll be in Clash with Kenzie with doing trivia against Lauren. 8 o'clock, Riot Fest. 9 o'clock, a chance to get to Florida to see Noah Khan, among others. So every hour, something for you here today. And let's do a couple shout-outs to some crew members. Got some stuff going on this morning. First, trucker Mike is at the hospital right now. I don't give too much information. Just he's there at the hospital with a family member doing some stuff, and we're sending good thoughts.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry to hear that, Trucker Mike.
Yeah, and Trucker Mike, I said, well, listen, when you're in the waiting room, you know.
Play Q101?
Well, that's one, sure. You can ask them to change the station at hospitals. They will for you.
That's in the laws, by the way. That's in the hospital code book.
I also said get some delicious food while you're in that waiting room waiting. He said they have good food in the cafe, but there's a Portillo's right across the street.
Oh, that's huge.
So you got a cafe for convenience, don't want to leave the hospital, walk across the street and get to heaven.
Yeah, I would go to the hospital more if it was closer to the Portillo's.
Wait, what would you go to the hospital for?
Just random injuries.
Checkups?
I would just hurt myself more just to get closer to a Portillo's. But the hospital by me, which is by you also, not a Portillo's nearby.
No, the only ones closest is Addison, which is for some reason takes a long time to get to between where we live near Wrigley Field and the highway. It's a journey.
I'm glad you said that because I felt the same way, but I thought maybe I was dumb for thinking that.
No, it's like a mile away, but it takes like 14 minutes.
I agree. I totally agree.
Hey, poor us. We got a Portillo's 14 minutes away. Also want to give a shout out to Chef Sean, one of our good crew members. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Chef Sean.
And he requested to hear a little bit of Rancid, so here you go, bud. It's for you, man. Chef Sean, just don't DM me for tickets for the show coming up. Everybody's doing that. I can't.
Brian needs tickets. He doesn't have any.
I'm trying to get my own. that show will be in August.
August 13th.
Yeah, you got our guys, Billy Corrigan, Smashing Pumpkins, and our guy too, Billy Joe, Green Day. You got Rancid, Linda Linda's. That show's going to start at 6 in the morning. It's a lot of bands at Wrigley Field. And because we've talked about it, Green Day's doing full sets of, the replays, I should say, plays of American Idiot and Dookie in its entirety, plus new songs.
Yeah, they got bangers on the new record I want to hear.
Yeah. And I also need Billy to do Siamese Dream. I need him to do that. He needs to commit to that. I don't know why he hasn't committed yet.
Hey, it's weird. You harassing him hasn't worked yet.
No. I mean, they always say...
You're very persistent. You would think it would have worked.
Well, the old days, they used to say you catch more bees with honey than... Is it vinegar?
I don't know.
You catch more bees. Well, what's not...
I would think you would catch more bees with honey than vinegar, but I'm not a biologist.
Do you know what that means?
No.
When you say that phrase, you don't know what that means?
No.
You catch more bees with honey than vinegar.
Is this about, like, picking up women?
It's exactly what it's about. Yeah.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
And Lauren O'Neill coming in, of course, to fill in for Kenzie on maternity leave. And we talked about how she had to go to her basement out in Elgin for the tornado warning last night. A lot of areas, like downtown, it felt like a tornado warning. They said Cook County, and I think they meant more in northwest Cook County, but it felt like a tornado could come through our hood any second.
I got legitimately scared at one point. There was a 25-minute window there where I was not loving life.
Yeah, he texted me and he goes, is this like that movie The Day After Tomorrow, and the wave is going to come over Lake Michigan and take out all the buildings, and we're going to sit there and go to the library and hang out?
And that was the tail end of it because
That's pretty much the whole movie, by the way. That's it.
I couldn't think of the title of that movie. I wanted to think it was, I kept on thinking it was Apocalypse Now.
That's a different movie.
And so I Googled that. I was like, wait a minute. That's not what this is. And then it took me 10 minutes to text you because I couldn't find the name of the movie The Day After Tomorrow.
Way different theme of Apocalypse Now than The Day After Tomorrow.
But both bad, right?
Both bad. Different kind of memories of different generations.
What's Apocalypse Now about?
That's Vietnam.
Oof.
Yeah, so you Googled it but didn't even go into it? Dude, you got to see Apocalypse Now.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I may need to watch it with you together to make sure you're okay afterward. That's how brutal it is.
Can we do that?
We can do that. We can watch a movie together.
Can we do that on the air? Can we just have a day where we watch a movie?
Does anybody really want that to happen on the show right now? So, yeah, it was really bad. We're getting a lot of check-ins. In fact, from Lou in Indiana, said, I work at a vet hospital. We all had to go down to the basement and bring clients and patients down there, too, because there was a confirmed tornado around the Highland Park area.
That sucks. That's
I'm sorry. He's not in Indiana. He's up in Highland Park. My bad. I thought it said Highland, Indiana. And then he said there was a bunch of dogs in the same room all together. And I got a wee bit of overtime and didn't get struck by the tornadoes. So I'd say pretty well overall.
That's huge. Not getting struck by the tornado is a massive win.
And hanging out with a bunch of dogs is kind of fun.
That's stressful, but because dogs don't know anything.
Well, they don't know what's going on. And usually they always show let's go back to The Day After Tomorrow. The wolves knew first and broke out. Sorry for the spoiler alert. Tore out of their cages at the zoo and started running the streets. Here's not a spoiler. Something comes back later with those wolves in the movie if you haven't seen Day After Tomorrow yet.
What zoo has wolves in it?
All zoos have wolves.
They have wolves?
I think, I don't know if Lincoln Park Zoo has a wolf.
That doesn't strike me as a zoo animal.
Well, you don't have to. Like I talked about, the wolves are running rampant in the north side of Chicago.
That's right.
If you go back to the podcast,
of course
too.
They're not in the zoo. They're in your neighborhood.
It was just like The Day After Tomorrow where those wolves broke out. Also, one more programming note before we continue. We did say beach weather tickets coming up in about 15 minutes, 6:35. I did say to Case about trying to get tickets. That's how we got to this phrase I used.
You were talking about Billy Corgan playing Siamese Dream in full
And
at the Wrigley Field show.
I've been doing the bullying angle of trying to get him to do that. And I got to get nice. I said, you got to catch more bees with honey than vinegar. It's catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So that's the phrase.
But what does it mean? That still means nothing to me.
It means honey is nice and sweet. Vinegar is sour. So being nice, you'll get something better if you're nicer.
I don't want to catch any flies, though.
Well, I've heard Billy's had a lot of flies flying around him.
What's that supposed to mean?
Not true. Not true. Sorry, Billy. Love you, man. A little still bitter you didn't let me join the Pumpkins with my guitar audition. That's where I'm at. Oh, so 708 checked in. You can catch flies with honey, but you catch more honeys being fly.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
My man. All right, it's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. A fact coming up that makes your brain go. Our friends Pierce the Veil on Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Such great guys at the Q101 pop-up. Pierce the Veil. Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Remember, we have another pop-up coming up with Save Ferris that's free at the Cubby Bear. All the information at Q101.com. Something you get free as well in about 10 minutes, 6:35. Tickets for beach weather at Lincoln Hall.
At Lincoln Hall.
Lincoln Hall, that show is. So we'll have that after the fact that makes your brain go. Before we get there, two other points before we get to the fact. First off, Julio checked in and said Brookfield Zoo has Mexican wolves.
Really?
Wolves. Yeah. Mexican wolf, which is a subspecies of the gray wolf native to southern Arizona and southern New Mexico and northern Mexico. So they look like a little bit of a gray wolf, but the picture I just saw has a brown wolf. So maybe they're not gray. I don't know. They're also known as the Lobo.
Boy, Steve Irwin, you are not. You do not know a lot about animals.
I'm just going on the fly here. Steve Irwin had a teleprompter.
That's right.
I'm just going by what I've researched on the Mexican wolf in that 3-minute Pierce the Veil song.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go see the Mexican wolf now.
Of course.
The Brookfield Zoo's got it.
Is it singular or are there more than one?
He says they have wolves.
Yeah, so I don't think it's the Mexican wolf.
If there was just one over there? Yeah. Also want to give a shout out. That Pierce the Veil song went to my hairstylist, Rula. Cut my hair. Look how lined up I am today.
You look great.
And
You
got
look
a hair,
killer.
about 2.5 months. That's how long her haircuts last.
Uh-huh.
And one of her customers, a guy named Jim, big fan of the show. Thank you, Jim, for listening. We appreciate you. We see you. We hear you. Thank you. Spread the word. Bring more people to this party. And this thing will go for another decade or so.
Is Rula a big Pierce the Veil fan?
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
Big time.
Loves them.
Gets in the pit. Knocks kids over. Yeah, it's great.
This is the hairdresser you go, an hour out of your way to go see?
That's what I do. And I've been doing it for many, many years.
Where's she at?
She's up in the Wilmette, Evanston type area up that way.
And you make the trek just because she cuts your hair so well.
100%.
Good for
I got a lot of places to cut my hair within like 5 feet of my house over in Wrigleyville
You
area.
got a sports clips right by you. That's the one I go to.
There's a Floyd's Barber Shop. No, I go to Rula because she does it right. Look at this hair. Look at this.
You look like $1 million, baby.
Thank you.
Your money, you don't even know it.
Thank you. Let's get to the fact that makes your brain just go. Explosion not lined up perfectly today. This is going to blow your mind, and I think everybody is going to say they're part of the 75% that have skipped an event that they really wanted to go to, but they skipped it. You skipped it because of this reason. And I want you to think about that. Something you really want to go to, and then you skip it because of this reason that I'll give you here in 5 minutes.
Can I take a guess?
Sure.
Is it because of you're not sure what the bathroom situation is like there?
That's a great guess.
I know.
I'm not going to say if you're right or wrong. You have to stick here and find out. But that's something I've thought about. Yeah.
Well, I'll be around. I'm not going to go home because I want to hear this fact.
5 minutes away. We'll give it to you.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
So we do have tickets for beach weather at Lincoln Hall coming up in a couple seconds after we give you this fact that makes your brain go. So don't go anywhere. I threw out there this fact. 75% of Chicagoans have skipped an event that they really wanted to go to because of this problem that was happening with it at the time. So a lot of guesses came in on the text line. Someone said your ex is there. That is a great answer.
I know I've had exes avoid things because they know I'm going to be there. This is 100% true.
I'm not sure why that's funny.
There was a few years ago, Interpol and Morrissey played at the Ravinia, and I had an ex that told me after the fact because we weren't talking, and then we started hooking up, and then we weren't talking again. But while we were hooking up, she told me, she went, I really wanted to go to that show. I love both of those bands, but I knew you would be there, and so I knew I wouldn't have as much fun.
Wow. Just even if you were like, really, Ravinia's huge.
I know, it's huge. The odds of us running into each other were not likely.
It's probably the best venue to avoid somebody because you could easily go way off into the grass. You wouldn't bump into each other no way naturally at Ravinia.
No, and she knew I was going to be up front, which I was.
Yeah.
So if she even just had a lawn seat, we would have been okay. But she looked me in my eyes and told me I didn't go because I knew you were going to be there.
You just get your little picnic basket and wine in your little corner and you don't move. That's what everybody does at Ravinia.
Who is the band you saw there? This is an off-air conversation we were just having.
So, Poi Dog Pondering.
Yeah.
My first moment in Chicago, one of my first experiences with a girl took us there and said, it's great. And that's exactly what they did. They made sandwiches, wine, cheese. And I'm not a fan of Poi Dog Pondering. I didn't know who they were. And I didn't realize that's a Chicago iconic thing to do because they are huge here, but not huge anywhere else. And they're not from here.
Oh, really? I thought they were.
I don't believe so. Maybe one guy, maybe like the mandolin players from here or something like that. I don't know. But that was my first experience at Ravinia way back in the day. And it was a great time. If you love an artist that's playing there, it's a great experience at Ravinia.
They're from Hawaii and Texas.
Yeah. I don't know why they created a huge following here. Maybe someone else knows.
Yeah, well, there's your poor dog pondering report for the morning.
Somewhere in the world right now, the singer of Poi Dog Pondering is sleeping, and he just like stood up in his
Yeah,
bed.
his ears are ringing now.
So his spidey senses tingling. It was a great time. A lot of people love him. So there you go.
But the fact isn't that people don't go to things because their ex is going to be there, is it?
That's not it. Someone said because you have sex. Skipped it for sex. Great answer. Also, 708 checked in. You missed an event that you wanted to go to because of diarrhea. That's not it. What it is going to be so relatable to you guys here in Chicago. I know it because I've done this. 75% of people have skipped an event in Chicago to avoid dealing with parking.
Oh, my God, yes.
Parking. And that is the fact that makes your brain go boom. I can tell you that I usually living in the city took a train or a cab back in the day or an Uber in these days to shows. I don't want to deal with parking. I have a car. It stays at home. I drive here to work, and that's it. And Costco. That's all I drive my car to. And haircuts with Rula, as I talked about earlier. But I went to a show at the Congress Theater, which has a wonderful Blue Line stop right there near it. Okay, it was a little sketch back in the day. It's still probably a little sketch.
It's not much better now. The California Blue Line stop is not luxury.
No, it isn't. The neighborhood got better, but the Congress Theater's been closed, that we talked about for a decade, and hopefully reopen someday. And it was Social Distortion.
Oh, my God.
Now, I've seen them, but I really wanted to go. And for some reason, I drove. I think I was going to try to go somewhere afterward to my brother's house or something.
Or maybe pick up a little Social Distortion cutie.
Hey.
A good-looking fan base.
It could have happened.
It could have happened.
I got to admit, it was a lot of dudes. Lots and lots of dudes. So I drove my car, and you know that area, I cannot find parking.
No, there's not. I mean, there's not even a parking lot because the Concord Music Hall is right next to it currently. And if you ever drive there, you're going 2 streets over. You're making a U-turn. You're cutting somebody off.
And then in that neighborhood on Milwaukee over there, there's just you keep doing circles, go
Yes,
to the
exactly.
neighborhood. And no one moves those cars ever in those neighborhoods.
No, they're like decoys. Like, I feel like they're fake cars that are put there to make our lives harder.
Yeah, you park your car there, and that's going to be there for 20 years until you move.
It's a government op.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Big government doesn't want us parking in Logan Square.
That might be a little excessive, that thought. That might be a little bit much. It might just be people with a car, they don't want to move it because they can't get a space once they move it.
That can't be it.
But I don't know if anybody else has done that, but I think it's very relatable. But I turned around and went home. I drove around for 40 minutes trying to find parking, could not do it. I finally said, F this. At one point, I found a spot, and I realized I was 3 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what am I doing? I'm almost home now. This is stupid.
I'm closer to home than I am the venue.
I'm not even near it. I'm in freaking Schaumburg. What happened?
That's how I feel with the former Rosemont Horizon, Allstate Arena.
Oh, yeah.
That parking lot, just the thought of it, makes me break out in hives. Because I remember, it was the 1975. They played there last fall.
Yeah.
I love the 1975.
Sure.
I like shaking my little ass. I thought about going to that show.
Not so little.
I'm very big guy.
Uh-huh. Thick boy.
And then the thought of going to that parking lot, I said, screw it. I don't need tickets. I don't need to be here. This is not worth it. I can't deal with the Allstate Arena parking lot. I have like a mental block when it comes to that venue. I just can't do it.
Well, I've told my story on the air. One of my great stories of getting trapped there at the Family Values Tour. So I think you had Limp Bizkit, Korn, Ice Cube. I can't remember who else was on that bill.
What a bill, by the way.
Oh, it was
Even
amazing.
Just those guys.
And back in the day when Shoeless Joe's was still open, the sports bar near there, and they blocked my car in. At the end, I couldn't leave, so I walked over to Shoeless Joe's, had myself a beer, watched a little bit of an ESPN Sports Center. They closed. They kicked me out. And then I walked back over. My car was still blocked in. Then I figured, how far is the blue line from here? I got to get, I'm in Rosemont. I can maybe get back home. It was a disaster. I don't think I got home till 6 in the morning.
You know what's amazing? 847 just checked in. And this is where you, Brian, being Mr. Chicago, being Mr. Wrigleyville, this is where you can help out because they said, I have tickets to Green Day Pumpkins and I'm already stressed about parking and might not go.
Well, listen, that is a rough area. That's our neighborhood a little bit. And I was going to try to say a little sneak hack to park. There isn't one in that neighborhood. Again, those cars don't move either. But the red line stops right there at Wrigley Field. So maybe think about a stop north or south of it. more likely north to park your car and then take 1 or 2 stops down. Maybe go up to, what's after, the Sheridan stops afterward?
That's exactly it. You should be parking near Sheridan and Irving Park or Sheridan and Buena, and then doing the 15 or 20-minute walk to Wrigley.
Yeah, you can still walk from there.
Yeah.
If you want to jump on the red line and take 1 or 2 stops, do it that way. You're not going to find parking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, park outside my apartment. I live right there.
Yeah, Case will hold a spot for you. Put a chair out there.
I'll put a chair out there.
Dibs. Yeah.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 coming up with the sports. More information on who the Bears are going to draft and what happened in the White Sox-Dodgers game yesterday. Pretty epic in spring training for a spring training game. We'll get to that. Lauren O'Neill coming in to fill in for Kenzie, of course, on maternity leave again today. She'll be in a few minutes. In the meantime, it's Gil Curtis with your headlines.
This is not headline news. Hundreds of devoted fans gathered to mourn the closure of the last remaining Hooters restaurant in West Virginia. One man said he'd miss seeing his wife and sister work there, but he was only pointing at one Hooters girl. Dallas hit 94 degrees on Monday. It's so hot Jerry Jones' face looks like it's melting, more than it normally does. Monica Lewinsky is the face for the new Reformation women's clothing campaign. The company took Monica's advice of making all the garments stain-resistant. And today is National Pancake Day. And if a pancake house near you isn't offering a promotion, report them to the Batter Business Bureau. No, you shut up. This is not headline news.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.